Start the sanding, begin at one end of the room, about 2/3 of the way across the room, lined up to sand with the grain of the wood. Try to keep the cord in an outlet near your starting point so you don't trip over it. As you step forward, lift up on the handle, lowering the drum to the floor. Lift up on the handle with enough force to apply constant pressure to the floor with the drum. Sand forward until you reach the other side of the room. Feather the drum off the floor. Step backwards in the same path as you just sanded, lowering the drum back to the floor, and sand as you walk backwards. Be sure to sand up and back on the same path. Your back sanding produces the most sanding and better dust pickup. Always sand forward and backward along the same path, and then move the machine over, overlapping one board in the area sanded previously. Continue this process until you've sanded the 2/3 section of the floor. Turn around and sand the remaining 1/3 portion of the floor, overlapping the area already completed. Stagger the place where you lift the drum off the floor to avoid stop marks where the two sections of the room meet. Make sure your start and stop points are different as you move across the floor so you don't leave a line across the floor. Offset the start and stop areas where the 2/3 and the 1/3 areas come together. Complete the cutting of the floor with this grit before you sand with the edger. You will follow this sanding process for all grits. Installation of the paper into the SL8 drum is simple and easy when you follow a few simple steps. The drum on the SL8 has two hardened steel cams installed in it. The cams have knurled edges across most of its surface, with a flat area on one side. This flat area corresponds with the notched end of the cam. When you see the notches on the end of the cam, you know the flat areas are lined up with the slot on the drum, allowing easy insertion of the paper. When you turn the cam, the knurled sections grab the paper and pull it down to make it snug to the drum. Turn the SL8 off and unplug it from the outlet. Use the sandpaper bender on the drum guard to crease the paper on the ends to provide the correct depth for insertion on the drum, as shown. Tilt the machine back on its handle and open the drum cover. Roll the drum around until the paper slot is facing you, and adjust the cam so the notches are facing you, allowing the flat sides to line up with the slot. Insert one end of the paper into the slot and roll the drum around so the paper wraps around it. Insert the other end of the paper. For some grits, 20 and down, it may be easier to insert the top side of the paper into the slot and follow with the lower end. Using your fingers, push both sides into the drum until the paper is snug around the drum. Make sure the edge of the paper is even with the edge of the drum rubber. Using the 7/16 inch open end wrench supplied with the machine, turn the left cam down 1/4 turn. Then turn the right cam 1/4 turn up. You will see and feel the paper pulling in tight to the drum. The knurled sides of the cam are working together with the springs on the drum to attach the paper properly. You must turn both cams at least 1/4 turn in the right direction for the paper to hold. Roll the drum around and check the paper to make sure it is lined up on the edge of the drum and there are no bulges or looseness. Plug the machine back into the outlet. For coarser paper, 12 to 16 grits, it may be necessary to remove some of the heavy grit before inserting paper into the slot. To accomplish this task, do the following. Put on safety goggles. Bend the paper and place it on a hard, flat surface, grit side up. Using a hammer, knock the grit off the paper where it inserts into the drum, the ears. Continue to remove grit until the paper is manageable. Insert the paper as previously shown.
This is a conventional edger, okay? It has you can see it has a disc on the bottom, and this is a 36 grit we're going to use here to strip this here. There's not much you need to know about the edger when you're using it, except let the machine do the work. The most important thing is to let the machine do the work, let it flow, and don't be tempted to get some varnish that may be in here that just won't come off. It's dipped or something in the board. Don't be tempted ever to lift the machine off the wheels. If you lift the machine off the wheels, you'll create a divot that when you go along with your next grit, you'll miss it completely. Any bits that the sander does not get, leave them until the end. And another tip as well is never take this sander into the main body of the floor. If there's a piece of varnish or something you want to remove, never bring this edger in to strip it back. it will show up in the finish. Leave all them little bits until the very end. Okay? Again, I'm going to show you now how to operate it, and just let the machine float, and don't be lift it off the wheels is the main thing. Do not lift it off the wheels. Another tip on using the edger is never come out any further than you need to come out. So this is where you're coming out to. If you have a spot of varnish out here somewhere, don't go out there. Keep the edger, especially when you're using the rough grit, keep the edger only on the area that has to be cleared. Okay, if you move out here with the rough grit, you know, it may show up again later. So try and keep the edger for around the perimeter of the floor, and try not to move it into the main body of the floor.